Nintendo has a history of being the divergent company in the gaming world. Ever since the N64, they always do something odd in relation to their competition. Everyone else has discs and a controller a normal person can use? Well, then Nintendo has to make a cartridge-based system with a controller only an alien could love. And when everyone kept doing the same old, screw it, we're giving the GameCube a handle. Why? Because it looks a bit less weird. The DS has 2 screens, while the PSP only had 1. Makes sense why the DS won that competition. Then the Wii. No explanation necessary. And we here at Arctic believe in fully ignoring the Wii U and 3DS. Basically, since the Dark Ages, Nintendo has always been known as the Gimmick Company. When everyone else is making reasonable choices with their hardware, Nintendo sits back twiddling their crack-coated thumbs making the wildest choices. And you know what? It works. Some of the time. The Wii, DS, and Switch were all runaway successes. Now, you can't really say that for some of the others, but considering the massive success Nintendo is facing right now, why would I, or anyone else say they would just abandon the strategy that helped them make their billions? Why won't the next console have a gimmick? Now, I brought up the N64 and GameCube as having gimmicks, when that's not entirely true. Rather, they were just odd choices. The N64 could have gone down the DualShock route, but ultimately decided to make a banana bunch, and despite not having access to every button all the time, the controller was excellent for the games made for it. The same goes for the GameCube controller. In fact, it's widely regarded as one of the best controllers ever. These were all attempts to create something better than the traditional experience. It was only with the Wii and Satoru Iwata's introduction as president as Nintendo that we truly got the really funky ideas. Now, a really funky idea is the fact that despite you having the resources available to you, you're statistically likely to not be working your dream job right now. But you can fix that with today's sponsor, Southern New Hampshire University. Unlock the college degree you need to start your future, the way you want it. Because today, I'm going to show you SNHU's stellar game development program. You could make your wildest visions come true when you're taught 2D and 3D modeling. And you'll essentially become a god with their lessons in game physics. Do you love Souls-likes with impossible boss encounters, or are you more of a peace-loving dogs kind of person? Well, either way, you'll learn how to make dynamic experiences with character and enemy intelligence. The programming languages you need for success are all included, perfect for any engine, from Unreal to Unity to Minecraft if you wanted. SNHU's faculty have real-world experience, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to connect with people in the industry. And when you graduate, SNHU will continue helping your job search. So give yourself the best Christmas present of all, an education, with a crazy affordable tuition to one of the United States' most innovative universities, Southern New Hampshire University. Visit snhu.edu/arctic, linked in my description to learn more. Again, that's snhu.edu/arctic.
Hot buttered popcorn, that's a thing!
We love Satoru Iwata, for the good and the unfortunate. When he took over as president in 2002, that's truly when the Nintendo experience began. At the time he became president, the world, and Japan specifically, started seeing a decline in interest for video games. Nintendo attributed this to more focus being put on hardware rather than software, and Iwata believed they spent too much effort focusing on core gamers, and began implementing a blue ocean strategy. What's that? That is the DS and Wii. When the PS3 and Xbox 360 are fighting over who has the best hardware and the prettiest graphics, Nintendo found a completely new and untapped market with families and inexperienced gamers, alongside the controller so simple, even grandma can use it. The gimmick of these consoles wasn't made for gimmick's sake, but was rather a necessity for the markets they're targeting. Without the Wii motion controls, you'll never convince Grandpa video game golfing is the same as real golfing. And without the DS touchscreen, how is little Susie expected to play Hannah Montana Music Jam? And best of all, these gimmicks hardly got in the way of real games either. Of course, most found a way to shoehorn them in, but if you want to play standard GoldenEye 007, grab a classic controller and you're set. Now, as we know, the Wii U and 3DS weren't nearly as successful as the Wii and DS. And I think the problem there is in the target demographics. Notoriously, the Wii U was marketed to children. That's not an inherently bad thing, otherwise Furbies wouldn't exist. But if we look at the Wii marketing, there's a stark difference in the age groups shown.
So, you want a Wii U this holiday?
The DS too followed a similar marketing strategy. Now, these systems were built for all ages, so of course, that's who they would market to. So, who was the Wii U built for?
Could it also be a perfect fit just for you?
You. So why didn't you buy it? Is it because it only looked like a $300 attachment to the Wii? Or the annoying ads? Or was it the bad games? Well, certainly not the last one. The Wii U has some of the best Nintendo games. And if you disagree, look at the Switch bestsellers. 3 of the top 10 are Wii U games, and 2 more are expanded versions of Wii U games. Back on the Wii U gamepad, I was rewatching the Wii U announcement event, and truly, the only thing they talk about is the gamepad. If you weren't giving it absolutely all of your attention, it looked like a more expensive U-Draw tablet. The console itself basically doesn't exist. And that would make sense if the gamepad was essential for the target audience to be interested, but as the console shared the same name as the Wii, there was no untapped audience because everybody already owned the Wii.
Here's Mom. We already have a Wii, sweetiekins. Here's you. Wii U is a total upgrade, Mother.
That line simply existing in the commercial shows a fatal flaw in the Wii U. The Wii targeted the casuals, people who don't know the difference between a microwave and an air fryer. The Wii U essentially targeted the same audience, but with marketing that tells you it's a controller for the Wii, and a gimmick that tells you it's a really big DS. I think we can stop spitting on the Wii U's grave for a moment. The Wii U failed because of bad audience marketing. So, move forward a couple years, everyone who had a Wii as teenagers are now adults, and adults who had the Wii are now dead. This is when Satoru Iwata began developing the fix for the Wii U. Taking in all the information gathered by the Wii U's failure, Iwata knew the next console needed a specific target audience that is currently untapped, and with that, a gimmick that makes the audience buy the damn thing. So now I ask, who was the Switch target audience? Children? No. The elderly? No. Families? Not exactly. Teenagers? Again, no. Then who? People who want to play good video games on the go. And guess what? That's everyone. Even the lowest performing handheld console of the first party developers, the PS Vita, sold as much as the Wii U. And Nintendo has been selling millions of their handhelds for decades. However, they have always been held back by the possibilities of the consoles. Whether it was the DS, 3DS, or PSP only having one joystick, or the biggest problem, handheld consoles always being at least 2 generations behind in performance. The GBA received several SNES ports, while the 3DS saw many GameCube and occasionally Wii ports. The PSP and Vita were more graphically impressive, but still never hold a flame close to home console equivalents. And that's where the Switch comes in. The market has seen a wholly untapped market in the place of high quality games you can play anywhere. In 2017 especially, it was insane to dream of playing Skyrim off the TV without having a giant gaming laptop with fans as loud as a Boeing 747. The Switch was incredibly impressive back then, and even now, it's not as bad as the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC Master Races would have you to believe, because while yes, the Steam Deck does exist and even outperforms the Switch on its own games occasionally, the Switch is nearly the best-selling console ever, and still receives newly impressive games monthly. Did you know Hogwarts Legacy runs on this thing? However, that's not to say that it's doing the best in terms of performance. The Switch is still half a decade old, with an even older processor, so it needs a successor. With that successor being the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, that title was clickbait. However, it was necessary clickbait, because the Switch itself doesn't have much of a gimmick. Of course, you can look at it and say, that's a video you can plug into a TV. That's definitely a gimmick. But in a world where you can plug your phone into your TV and play Subway Surfers in 4K, the Switch is just the next iteration of that, in 1080p. I described it specifically as the solution to the wholly untapped market of good portable gaming, and it delivered that in a handheld format, that you can conveniently plug into your TV. The dock essentially does nothing more than a capture card or an HDMI cable, because the performance isn't increased at all while plugged in. It only allows you to put it on the TV. So, The Switch 2 will do exactly that, except now in 1440p. But who says it has to be a Switch 2? Why won't it be something completely new? Satoru Iwata. The Switch released 2 years after the passing of Iwata, but undoubtedly the Switch only exists because of him, and future consoles will hardly have any influence from him directly. As the man who pushed for the Blue Ocean strategy in Nintendo, it was him who invited the innovation and creativity that opened gaming to these untapped markets. But Nintendo has finally tapped into its market, and they're doing pretty good in a very healthy way. The Wii was successful, but not in a healthy way, as it was more of a fad, the hot new toy. The Switch is kind of like an additional appliance for the house. If you can afford it, you're gonna get one. So now Nintendo is run by a business-minded president, and ultimately, innovation isn't at the forefront. Money is. And the best way to make money is to make sequels, baby. Shrek 1, boom, Shrek 2. Switch 1, Switch 2. As long as the Switch 2 successfully taps into the need of a bigger, better, bustier Switch, it will succeed. Except, isn't this the whole path Nintendo went down for the SNES to N64 to GameCube? Yes, but the biggest problem back then was the increasing alienation of their player base and developers. Nintendo thought themselves so important they could do whatever they wanted, and everyone would follow them. But that can't remain true forever. Eventually, developers got mad. Sony made a better console to develop for, and gamers got more games over there. And guess what? Sony even fell down the same trap for the PS3. And guess who won that generation? The Wii, with the games that everyone wanted to play. The Switch 2 won't have a gimmick, and it certainly doesn't need one, as long as they keep the players, and most importantly, the developers happy. Because who knows, there's always a competitor hiding in the shadows. But I could be completely wrong, and maybe we'll see the Nintendo flip where the entire gimmick is that you have to play games upside down to see them. And in that case, I'll be here to talk about it, or at my Twitch channel, ArcticJackW, also posted in my subscriber community feed for anything you or I want to talk about. So make sure to love your neighbor as thyself, and as always, keep cool.